Look at me, I'm a fancy brand name drug.
Generic. I'm a generic. I
can tell.
But I'm safe, effective, and FDA approved.
So am I, little man, so am I.
But shouldn't people take us for the medicine we are inside?
People take me because I'm on TV.
And expensive. Face it, brand name drugs are just generics in disguise. Got me.
Your doctor or pharmacist can tell you if generics are right for you. No matter how much drug companies try to dress them up, what kind of fancy names they give them, or how much they put them on TV, brand name drugs are still just generics in disguise. So skip the hype. Your doctor or pharmacist can tell you if generics are right for you.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. Tonight's topic is generic medicine, and joining us still are Mr. Teodoro Ferrer, President of Generica Group of Companies, and Ms. Mary Rose Ulit, who is the Corporate Pharmacist of the Generica Group of Companies. Okay, welcome back to our second segment. Interesting video we saw before we started, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the company again.
Yes.
How is it doing nationwide? Where are your growth areas, Mr. Ferrer?
Well, actually, we are set up, we are organized now to expand all over the country. We have formed groups in, well, we started in Muntinlupa. That was where we opened our first store. But we're all over the place now in Luzon. There are still many spots, but essentially we can cover Luzon. Then we opened in the Visayas as well as Mindanao, and we are geared up to, there is momentum already. The brand equity is getting better and better. The acceptance level, people know more about us. So and by the way, our mission from the very beginning was to be the leading national drugstore chain focused on quality, generics at affordable prices.
Are they? Yes.
So we were going after that objective, corporate objective. Yes.
Any plans of venturing into your own branded generica, let's say generica paracetamol or generica, your own brand, so that people will now, when people, as you said, brand building, and I know this is like a taboo word when it comes to generics, but when you talk about your brand, when people have really developed that loyalty, that trust in the generica group of companies, any plans to go into your own generic drugs?
That is exactly what we're starting to do, because, well, one reason is we have enough volumes now. Because when you try to develop your own brands, normally the manufacturer will require a minimum order quantity. And right now we are at that stage that we can meet that requirement. And we're starting to come out with, we call them house brands. Because then we can offer the customers greater assurance of the quality, and we can be more assured about the supply of the medicine, that it's not going to run out, because we control it. We have direct links to that.
Plus, since we have the volume, so if you have the volume, you can get it at a better price. You can give it at a better price to our consumers.
Of course, price will go down for
Actually, we have existing house brands, and we are developing more house brands in the future.
Very interesting how ironic it would be if Generica turned out to become a generic brand name. So it's a contradiction in terms, generic brand name. But
that is actually what is happening now. You have the originator branded product, and then you have generics, but they are branded generics. That is happening.
Sans the heavy marketing campaign of the pharmaceuticals, hence the price really goes down. Okay, let's talk about the video we saw earlier, and I think it really hits at the heart of what generics is all about. They said a generic medicine or drug, they can dress it up, they can put a hat on it or whatever, change the appearance, but ultimately medicine is medicine. It is the same thing.
Yes.
Was that pretty much correct?
Regardless of they may differ in colors or shape, but basically if it's the same generic, it has the same active ingredients. They may have the same inactive ingredients, but the very basic, the one that produces the desired therapeutic effect, it has to be the same.
Yes. So for this reason, sometimes when you buy a branded drug and a generic drug, sometimes sometimes a generic
differ
drug. They're
in
both, let's say,
appearance.
10 mg, but when it
The one is
looks
smaller.
and I've
Yes,
often wondered,
yes.
does it mean that they put less drugs in there?
No, if the label claims it's 5 milligrams, definitely it has to be 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
And for some suppliers or manufacturers, they even copy the exact shape or color of a particular innovator product because it produces that psychological effect that you're taking the same.
Of course, it's all about trust, really,
Yeah.
and what symbols, what people can relate
Yes.
to, images that they trust. Now, is that a problem for, let's say, if you come out with a drug that looks exactly like, let's say, a branded drug, but except for the marking, but it looks exactly the same or almost exactly the same? Is that a legal issue for you guys?
Actually, it's not because in the Philippines there is no restriction. Unlike in the other countries that you cannot copy the color or the shape of
Yes,
an
yeah.
originator drug, in the Philippines, okay, for amoxicillin, if you're going to manufacture an amoxicillin in orange color, people will not buy it. They would always look for the one in red and white because of that psychological advantage that the innovator or the originator of amoxicillin is red and white.
If it's not red and
color.
white, then somehow
Yeah, they have
it's
this
a subliminal
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They reject it or they frown on
Yeah.
they frown on it. You know? Now, okay. Another thing which really strikes at the heart of this whole generic issue is quality and control, quality and safety. I mean, in the past we've heard about things like drugs have people have poisoned drugs. Like there's this issue with Tylenol many years ago where extra strength Tylenol ended up killing so many people because this is on record because of some person put cyanide into the Tylenol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you guys combat this image, this quality control image that I'm sad to say, generics still do have?
Okay. With generics, when it was enacted last 1988, there is a sudden, what's this? There is a sudden influx of generic manufacturers which are, I may call, fly-by-night. So, doon na-create yung perception ng tao that generics are not of good quality. Which is why when we started, when our very first store, when we are still in the process of conceptualizing generica, we make it a point to visit all our possible suppliers to see the quality of the product that they produce, how they produce their product, how they maintain their products, and all the legal documents necessary for us to prove that the products that they are manufacturing is of good quality.
How in-depth or how extensive are your on-site inspections of these facilities?
Okay.
Do you go to the floor, to the factory floor,
We went out of our
the
way to
laboratory
visit
floor?
some of our manufacturers. And then from time to time, we do visit our until now, we sometimes go to our manufacturers just to do plant visit, to see if the procedures are being followed, to check if the documents are followed. They have all the necessary documents. And come September, we're going to India to visit a manufacturer of our house brand.
Interestingly, you should mention India because India is really a major supplier
Yes.
of generic drugs. In fact, I go to India sometimes and I'm amazed and shocked at how cheap the pharmaceuticals are there. And previously in the Philippines, we didn't have access to these. But talking about overseas supply, where does Generica get its where do you source your pharmaceuticals from?
We get our products from multinational, global generic players. I wouldn't mention them. Am I allowed to mention?
Sure.
Yeah, number one is Sanofi. It's the sister company of, it's Winthrop. It's a sister company of Sanofi. We also get our products from Sandoz. These are multinational global
Sandoz.
players.
Okay.
We also source our product from Malaysia, Korea. We also get products from Europe, and then of course India.
How about locally?
Locally, we have local partners. Madami kaming local partners because of course we also want to support the local industry. So we have Unilab, of course. We also have Lloyd's Laboratories, Sydenham, Interfil. Actually, madami.
Yes. Now, that really is a challenge, I think, for Generica. The biggest challenge, I think, is to change the mindset of people, with regard to generic drugs. But another problem is you guys are also operating in a field where, admittedly, there are a lot of unscrupulous players.
Yes.
Right? So the problem is, if one generic drug, if there's some hanky-panky on one generic maker, then it somehow damages or affects the other
Yeah.
people who are doing things right,
Legitimate players.
Yeah.
the legit players. How do you guys now address the situation in your company, this challenge? If you do a SWOT analysis,
Yeah.
this is a major threat, not the
Yeah.
threat.
Well, in our case, the operations are centralized. We are the
Commissary.
Generica is the commissary. We are the ones who source all the medicines. We keep them in a central warehouse, and then we deliver to the different stores. So in that sense, we are fairly confident about the medicines that our stores carry. They do not source from anybody else, no, for the medicines. So that's one big factor, because like in some of the other drugstores, they may be getting from different sources. Now you're not really sure about the quality. The sari-sari stores, I don't know where they get their medicines. No. So that's one big difference. That's why we feel that our medicines are the quality medicines that we want to carry. And just to answer it another way, we have been operating for many years. Right now, I think we're running at the rate of about 10 million transactions, 20 million now, going to 20 million transactions per year.
Wow.
We have had no serious complaints
Yes.
on the quality side. So we're very happy with that experience.
Plus, we're very strict in accrediting products. We do product evaluations, and then part of the plan that we are, my department is having right now is that we're going to do product testings also. Just random testing, just to see if the product is of good quality, just to verify.
Yes,
As
it's
an
very important.
additional
Yes,
assurance,
yes,
yes.
of course. So
Plus-
an additional safeguard
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Plus, we only deal with CGMP compliant manufacturers.
Okay, okay. Then you talked about in-house brands, and I understand you brought one now with you.
Yeah. Actually, this is not an in-house brand. This is a product exclusively distributed by Generica Drugstore.
Okay, okay.
It's a weight loss product.
Okay.
It differs from the other weight loss product because it blocks the absorption of carbohydrates. You know, Filipino, we love rice, we love pasta, we love sugar. So it blocks the I think more than 60% of the carbohydrates you intake, the product will definitely block it.
How do you pronounce this? Lobese?
Lobese.
Lobese.
It's
So,
a food
I mean,
supplement.
Of course, obese. So
Obese.
lobese. Hard to make a mistake on what that's
Yes.
for, no? Okay.
It's available at all Generica drugstores.
Now, aside from this, do you have other other products that are exclusive to Generica?
Yes, we have our own house brands for hypertension, for cholesterol.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And now these are your house brands, but these are generic alternatives or
Yes.
copies of
Of
the
the originator.
innovator drug that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the human resource potential of Generica Drugstore. Your people, you said you have about 300 now, 300 employees.
Yes.
These are employees that are really your own,
Regular employees.
belonging to the company.
Yes.
What special training do your staff undergo?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you asked that, no, because one of the things we're very careful about is the selection of the people that work for us and that work in the franchise stores. You need a certain kind of personality, like in the stores. This should be kind of extroverted, friendly, willing to help, and so on, versus somebody who is very shy, walang pasyensya, or high temper and so on, and could get into arguments with. That's one. We really assist our franchises in the testing and interviewing of those employees that they will get, and then we conduct a lot of training for the employees. A core training running for 12, 13 days, where it's not just about the store operation and the use of the computer, no? Because we're fully computerized.
Okay.
So they have to have hands-on experience on how to do transactions.
Okay. Okay.
So that's very important. But beyond that, we conduct customer service trainings. so that the level of service they give to customers will be that superior service that I was talking about. And this is being done more and more because we really want the customers. We believe that customer service can be the differentiating factor of generica versus other drugstores.
And in your case, I think essential. Because your frontliners are those people who are going to convince people who are kind of, should I buy this? Should I buy generic or branded? These are the guys who are going to say, ma'am, ito na lang kasi pareho naman. And so usually a nice personality goes a long way.
Yes. And then, well, I think we're all customers in everyday life, diba? And you certainly appreciate, you go to a restaurant, you go to, you buy something. The one who attends to you, it makes a big difference the way they treat you. No? So that is the kind of culture we want the customers to have in the store, that they are greeted with a smile and when they come in, and then you talk to them. We do not just give the medicine that they want. Pabili nga ng amoxicillin, bakit po? Para sa inyo? Ay, hindi. Para sa anak ko.
And maybe
bakit
give
po?
them good advice.
No, we ask probing questions to find out
why are you buying
kung yung kailangan ba talaga yung antibiotic. We do patient counseling is emphasized. No? And sometimes we just, sir, hindi pa kailangan ng antibiotic. Why don't you just give vitamins, making rest, and so on?
This is really an MBA success story. This approach, prior to this, I had personal experience. I have never encountered a drugstore here with that kind of
attention. On top of that, we also provide technical training for our store people because you have to equip them. It has to be a knowledgeable professional service. So we do technical training for our pharmacists and pharmacy assistants.
Yeah. Let me mention something else. We're computerized. You mentioned an ailment, let's say dengue or what. They type that. It's like you have a lot of information there about dengue, the medicines, the dosage, the contraindications. So it really makes it easy for the store personnel to give correct advice. No?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Before we run out of time, I want to talk about the business side of it because, a lot of people watching now are probably saying, hey, 260 stores going on 300 in 8 years. You guys must be doing something right. So who can avail of, tell us about the franchise opportunities for Generica.
Well, like we said, most of the stores are franchise stores. Okay. We're only about 22 company stores now. No? Because we really believe franchising is the way to go to be able to expand. And then also, it is the franchisee will not only put up the money, but will run the store. Of course, we will monitor and we will support. We will. So that's the way to go. And right now, well, if you want to know, the franchise package depends. It could be 800,000 up to 1.2 million, but that covers everything: franchise fee, computers, provision for renovation of the store, the initial stock, maybe 250, 300,000 worth of inventory, plus the trainings and other stuff. No?
And if I might say, I talked to a lot of franchise people who offer franchises here in the show, and that's actually very reasonable. It is very
reasonable. Yeah, we have learned a few things. For example, when we started with company stores, we were looking for 50, 60 square meters because we wanted to have a big store. But we have cut it down with 20, 25 square meters.
Yes, pwede na.
It's okay.
Quickly, what is the ROI? Let's say 800,000 to 1.2 million. How much?
It varies. Let me say, first of all, it varies. Okay. And a lot of it depends on the franchisee also. Because we analyze the location, we give advice and so on. Hey, this one is very strong, this one is not so good. But if you put enough effort into it, it can be a very profitable business. But not all franchises put in that kind of attention, effort, particularly in the beginning. It's very important because just think about it. It's a new location. Let's say Generica is not known there. The people don't know the store is there. So you have to exert extra effort in the first 6 months, 12 months. No? And there are various ways that we help them to do this. No? But if you do this, well, I said it varies. Some stores have done terrific. Less than a year, 10 months, they recovered the investment.
Okay.
Some stores, in general, let me say, let's say 1.5, 2.5 years, you could recover your investment. Some stores, I'm sorry to say, are not doing as well for various reasons. And many times it needs extra effort, attention on the part of the franchise.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Now, for more information, where can people go to find out about Generica?
Well,
and perhaps you would like to say something to the viewers as well.
Yeah. Well, we have a website, www.generica, with a K, Generica is with a K, .com.ph. You can also call us at 828-1818, and we'll be very pleased to entertain queries, questions, and so on.
Well, I'm going to be one of those because 308 years, that's a good business. Ms. Ulit, last words for viewers?
Okay, if you want value for your money, go for quality generic medicines. And if you're looking for quality, affordable generic medicines, go to Generica.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ferrer and Ms. Ulit. And this is such an interesting topic as this business continues and develops. I hope you'll come back so we can talk about the business side naman of generic, and hopefully other people will be interested and enthusiastic about getting into this business and maybe getting a franchise from you guys.
If I may end with our tagline,
Yes?
alaga ka sa generic.
Ang ganda. Bravo. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I hope you all learned more about generics. Join us again next week here in the show where we talk about what matters to you because you matter the most. I'll see you next week.
Companies try to dress them up. What kind of fancy names they give them, or how much they put them on TV. Brand name drugs are still just generics in disguise. So skip the hype. Your doctor or pharmacist can tell you if generics are right for you.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. Tonight's topic is generic medicine, and joining us still are Mr.
Generic. I'm a generic.
I can tell.
But I'm safe, effective, and FDA approved.
So am I, little man, so am I.
But shouldn't people take us for the medicine we are inside?
People take me because I'm on TV.
And expensive. Face it, brand name drugs are just generics in disguise. Got me.
Your doctor or pharmacist can tell you if generics are right for you. No matter how much drug
Hey, look at me. I'm a fancy brand name drug.
We started in Muntinlupa. That was where we opened our first store, but we're all over the place now in Luzon. There are still many spots, but essentially we can cover Luzon. But then we opened in the Visayas as well as Mindanao, and we're geared up to. There is momentum already. The brand equity is getting better and better. The acceptance level.
Dora Ferrer, President of Generica Group of Companies, and Ms. Mary Rose Ulit, who is the corporate pharmacist of the Generica Group of Companies. Okay, welcome back to our second segment. Interesting video we saw before we started, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the company again.
Yes.
How is it doing nationwide? Where are your growth areas, Mr. Ferrer?
Well, actually, we are set up, we are organized now to expand all over the country. We have formed groups